Here in Niagara, we are either fortunate or unfortunate enough, depending on how you look at it, to either live in or around Canada's most haunted town, Niagara on the Lake. Today, TV Kojiko has been fortunate enough to land a private ghost tour in the infamously haunted Fort George.
We started the tours in 1994, so depending upon how you do the count, that we're at, 19 or 20, 19 years, 20 seasons, I suppose, is the definition of it.
And what got these tours started?
Well, I'd volunteered at the fort for a bit, got addicted to the history here, and then actually took a ghost tour down in Williamsburg in Virginia, and thought, wow, what a really cool way of being introduced to the history without having to be interested in the history, if that makes any sense, kind of catching people through the side door of tricking them into being interested in the history. But at the same time, the tour that I took down there was mainly history trivia, and what ghost stories they were kind of the didn't happen at this church, but at the church 6 miles down the way kind of stories. So throughout that tour experience, I was thinking of all the different ghost stories that I'd heard, just being here at Fort George on those rainy days when nobody's coming in, and the guy who's been here for 20 years is entertaining the new kids with spooky stories. So at that point I thought, okay, then Fort George, if it can work for Williamsburg, it can work for Fort George, and even better, because we can be in the place where the ghost story happened. So I approached Parks Canada, and Parks Canada thought it was a great idea, but being the federal government, they cannot confirm or deny the existence of spirits. So then it was set up under the arm of the Friends of Fort George, which is the charitable organization that helps preserve the history here, and we've been going ever since.
Well, I'm very curious. Would you mind taking me through some of the hot spots?
This is kind of where we set the mood in a lot of ways for the fort, because I think a lot of people, their exposure to history is, I don't know, I don't want to say it's derogatory in any ways, but I guess the classic, grade school history where you read the books, you studied the books, and you had to know the names and the dates, and then, as soon as you were done the test, you probably forgot everything. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people, that's their only exposure to history is just things that don't really connect with them at all. So here, the barracks is the living quarters for the common soldier, and really, the living, the human experience has not changed a whole lot in the last 200 years. So here we try to put into context that these were, real live living people that made their lives here. There were women and children and the soldiers that lived here, and this was their home. And anything that you or I do in our homes today, these people were doing here. So I guess it's kind of here where I had my first ghostly experience too, where, there was a bunch of us in here, and just whatever, I don't know, hanging out, doing whatever we were doing here. And then, all of us paused as we heard footsteps kind of moving across the upper floor here. Now, the upper floor was closed off, the staircases on both sides boarded off, and then the exterior staircases, generally locked. So, after the initial, did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that. Okay, are we actually hearing that? That is footsteps. Then the next guess was, okay, this is somebody playing a trick on us. So, two of the guys headed out the front door and around to the stairs, only to find, the upper doorway locked off, and the same thing on the far side. So when there's, 5 of us there going, yeah, we heard footsteps, and then we didn't hear footsteps, that was kind of weird.
Take me to the next spot?
To the tunnel.
Sounds good.
Welcome to the tunnel. A story that I really love about the tunnel that doesn't get told on the tour because just, I guess, the nature of the story, was from probably about 7 years into the ghost tour, so about 2001, 2002 or so. And as we exited from the tunnel, these 2 guys that had been at the back of the tour group, and had been, it was very obvious that they were dragged along by their girlfriends or their wives, and they were kind of, not really into it and doing a lot of kind of the, ooh, spooky kind of stuff, right? So when we came out of the tunnel, these 2 guys came up and said, hey, Kyle, where's the door go? So I kind of went, well, we just went down the tunnel, the door there, trying to figure out what door they're talking about. What door? Oh, okay, well, we were at the back of the group as we came in, and when you're at the back of the group, you don't have a big spotlight attached to the camera. It's dark at the back of the group. So naturally, you kind of put one hand out in front of you so you're not bumping into somebody in front of you, and then you sort of drag your other hand along the stone wall, basically just to keep you going in the right direction and keep your balance in the dark. So I guess these two guys, on walking in, fingers dragging along the stone wall, stone wall, stone wall, stone wall, wooden door frame, wooden door, metal door furniture, wooden door frame, stone wall, stone wall, stone wall. So they wanted to know about, 12 steps in on the right-hand side of the tunnel, where does that door go? I had to look at them and go, there's no door in the tunnel, I'm sorry. But they insisted, no, there was definitely a door. And I just figured, okay, they're just, just messing with me, right?
So Kyle, where and when can people get tickets?
And you can get all the information that you need on our website, which is niagaraghosts.com. And don't forget that the Ghost Tours is just one of the special events that runs here at Fort George over the summer. So a couple weeks from now, they've got their Fife and Drum Corps muster, and then there's always cannons being fired off and history happening during the day as well.
What Kyle showed us was just a snippet of the tour. If you want to see the full tour, you can go to the Fort's website to buy your tickets today. Remember, the closer we come to Halloween, the faster those tickets will sell out. Reporting for The Source, I'm Elizabeth Hall.